You ever have one of those moments where you're holding a hot mug of coffee, watching the world wake up around you, and then, out of nowhere, your whole life just flips? That was me, standing on my dock, just minding my own business, when the HOA decided my private island was their next playground. I'm talking bulldozers, construction trucks, the whole circus rolling right onto land my dad bought back in '54. And here's the kicker. Their president, Karen Hensley. Yeah, that's really her name. She looks me dead in the eye, hands me a bill for trespassing on my own property, and laughs, like I was just some old man she could steamroll. You ever get the feeling life's about to hand you a mess, but you're still holding out hope it's all a bad dream? Well, buckle up, because it only got crazier from there. Let me back up a sec. That dock, the one Karen's crew bulldozed into splinters? My wife Helen and I built it ourselves, board by board, right after my last Army deployment. 35 years as an engineer, fixing problems, building things that last, so every nail out there was a memory. The way the morning mist used to hang on the lake. How Helen's laughter echoed when I smacked my thumb with a hammer, the smell of pine and sweat and love, all baked into that wood. That's what they tore down in seconds, chasing some developers. Dream of luxury cabins. I'll never forget the sound. Heavy diesel engines rumbling over the old causeway, trucks rolling off the mainland like an invading army. I just stood there, mug forgotten, heart in my throat, thinking this had to be a mistake. Maybe a rookie surveyor got lost. Maybe somebody mixed up the paperwork. But the minute I crossed over in my John boat and saw that clipboard-wielding stormtrooper, Karen herself, decked out in khakis and her HOA logo polo, I knew this wasn't a misunderstanding. She gave me that patronizing smile, told me the island was now common property, and they were improving it for the whole community. That was her word, improving. You know what I mean? Improving. Like everything my family built was just some trash to be bulldozed so she could put up 23 rental cabins and call it progress. She even tried to convince me it'd be good for my property value, like that was supposed to make losing Helen's memorial sting any less. And when I told her I had the deed, she just smirked as if facts were optional. I went home, tore through every drawer and box Helen ever organized, but the deed, my one piece of proof, was gone. Just vanished. Cold knot in my stomach, let me tell you. And that's when the bills started coming. Certified letter in the mail, encroachment fee, $250 because my lawn chairs and fire pit were obstructing their land use. Can you imagine? They're squatting on my island and billing me for sitting on it. The rage, God, I can laugh now, but at the time, I thought I'd explode. It stopped being about land and started being about Helen, about family, about legacy. I wasn't going to let them erase all that with a signature and a bulldozer. I tried reasoning, tried being the calm problem solver I'd always been. But Karen, she saw my grief as weakness. She even called the bulldozer over and, in front of me, ordered her guy to clear the shoreline. All of it. That machine tore through our dock, 60 years of memories, like it was nothing. I yelled, I pleaded, but nobody listened. That's the day I realized, sometimes, the system you trust doesn't care. The county inspector came, glanced at Karen's thick binder full of slick maps, nodded along with her lawyer, and told me to work it out civilly. Civilly. Yeah, that happened. Then came the chain link fence, 10 feet high, stretching across the causeway, my own island, locked away. Neighbors I'd known for years wouldn't help. Most were just as trapped by Karen's rules, afraid to rock the boat. Even George, a decent guy, whispered over the fence that Karen fined his wife $50 for having the recycling bin too close to the curb. People were scared. I was alone. But then I found hope, of all places, in an old chest in my workshop, a hand-drawn survey map from '56. It showed the island as ours. I thought, this is it. But no signature. No official seal, just a draft. It was like having a key to the wrong door. So I went to the HOA meeting, stood up in front of everyone, tried to tell my side. Karen cut me off, banged her gavel, threatened to ban me from meetings. The room full of my neighbors just stared at their shoes. Humiliation like that. Man, it burns. But that's when something in me shifted. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I watched them build, watched those cabins rise one by one, listened to the saws and hammers day after day. And I started planning. I wasn't going to fight them head on. Not yet. I went to the county records office, dug through mountains of files, searching for their precious plat. That lawyer's official paperwork? Turns out, it wasn't registered with the state, just filed. Locally. No state seal, no real authority. They'd built a multi-million-dollar project on legal quicksand. Then came my secret weapon, Earl Sutton, retired county surveyor, fellow Army vet. Over donuts at his kitchen table, he pulled out the original coordinates from his logbooks. Iron pins, 3/4 of an inch, hammered 5 feet into the granite. Paper can lie, Jack, he told me, but iron and rock doesn't walk away. Armed with that, I hired a young surveyor, told him nothing but the facts. 2 weeks later, I had a certified map, stamped and sealed, showing every one of those 23 cabins smack in the middle of my property. I tucked it away, waited for the right moment. Meanwhile, Karen was parading in the local paper, calling herself a visionary, talking about dealing with bitter individuals resistant to progress. Yeah, I was bitter enough to load my legal gun with real ammo. Filed a quiet title action at the courthouse. Simple move, but deadly. Karen, arrogant as ever, didn't even bother to show up. 31 days later, I had a court order with my name on it. Official, stamped, bulletproof. And that's when things turned. You ever see a bully's face when they realize the game's up? Karen went from smug to pale the night I walked into that HOA meeting, army jacket on, court order in hand. She tried to laugh it off, called my document fake. That's when I brought up the county clerk, Cliff Marks. Good man, hates drama, but I'd asked him as a favor to confirm the paperwork. He walked up to the mic, looked Karen dead in the eye, and said, "That's as real as this podium." Silence hit the room like a hammer. And then, oh man, what a twist. My daughter Dana walks in, flanked by 2 deputies, phone recording the whole thing. The deputy serves Karen right there, stack of papers, cease and desist for trespass, code violations, environmental fines, the works. Karen melted down in front of cameras, screaming, blaming everyone but herself. The whole board quit on the spot. The video went viral. Within a week, the residents dissolved the HOA, uncovered Karen and the developer were embezzling money. And the developer skipped town before the feds came knocking. The price of freedom? A final assessment to cover the mess, but nobody complained. They were free, and so was I. Except now, I owned 23 shiny new cabins sitting on my land. Instead of tearing them down, I fixed them up, brought them up to code, installed new wells, handled the permits myself. When they went up for sale, they sold out in a month. The profit was, well, let's just say my daughter thought I was crazy for giving half of it to a trust for wounded vets in Helen's memory. But that's what she would have wanted. The real victory, though, wasn't the money. It was the way the community changed. Once the HOA signs came down, people started talking again, helping each other. Even George came by with his sons and helped me build a new dock. Stronger, better, but with the same heart. We even renamed our stretch of lake, Rains Point, after my family. There's a simple cedar sign now. Welcome to Rains Point. Respect the lake. I sit here now, coffee in hand, sun rising over the water, the kind of quiet that settles your bones. New families in those cabins, making their own memories. They thought a piece of paper could take away a man's legacy, but paper burns, and stone lasts. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just signs its name and lets the world see the truth. So tell me, was I just a stubborn old fool, or did I do what was right? Would you have walked away, or stood your ground? Drop your story in the comments. Let's hear what justice means to you. And hey, if you ever find yourself standing alone against a bully, remember, sometimes the quiet fight wins the war. 23.